Thanks, Emily.
Awesome. All right, Andy. Thanks for joining us. We are excited to hear all about your digital or marketing. Our first question is, we wanted to ask you, how is El Pollo Loco driving loyalty, especially via digital?
I think it's a really good question to start off with. I think the biggest thing in the restaurant space right now is everybody's competing for share of wallet, and there's a lot of messages in the marketplace. And we want to try to differentiate our brand as best as we can. So keeping that emotional connection with the consumer is key, and making sure your brand is at the top of the consideration set has really been one of our primary objectives as we've tried to drive loyalty sales and improve our loyalty program. Obviously consumers are very interested in what's relevant to them. So making sure that we have appropriate segmentation in place, making sure we're not over communicating to our consumers, and doing something that isn't always transactional in nature. So for us, our loyalty program is our most valuable customers. They transact with us probably more than our traditional customers. And for us, making sure that we maintain that level of great communication with them in a way that doesn't seem like it's overbearing is really key to success. And we're really proud of the strides we've made with loyalty and, continue to make every single day.
How do you, what's your best practice in reaching out and creating that loyalty with those consumers?
Yeah, I think, you always want to have a pulse on your audience. And, one of the things we do, you might call it a little bit non-traditional in nature, but we really try to get a pulse from our top guests, our bottom guests. Even if it means me hopping on the phone with one of them, it might seem a little strange in the digital era that we live in, but you really want to get a gauge as to what's working, what's not working. What do you think of this? It's a really good opportunity to have a pulse on the consumer in a little bit of a different sense. And for me, some of the best decisions I think we've made as a brand has come as a result of just simple call interactions with some of our consumers, and really making sure that we add value just beyond that transactional level for our consumers. And we continue to iterate on our plans and continue to try to keep things interesting for our consumers. And I think we'll continue to do so as long as we have a pulse on our customer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right. How about what is El Pollo Loco doing in the e-commerce space, and how is that helping to build the brand via digital?
Yeah, I think, before the pandemic, we weren't as much of a player in e-commerce. Again, this is one of those circumstances that you really have to make this whole notion of frictionless convenience very top of mind with the consumer. So the more steps that are required to check out, or that, essentially give the consumer a opportunity to exit from your experience, I think the more challenging it is for the brand to convert in e-commerce. And for us, it's the traditional phrase, keep it simple, stupid. You just want to make sure that it's a simple, frictionless process for those consumers. And, for us, our average customer age is a little bit higher than the traditional QSR and those in the fast food space. And for us specifically, we wanted to make sure that that transactional journey that we have with our consumers is one that is memorable, it's easy, it's efficient, and it's something that the consumers will want to replicate over and over again. And I think, the pandemic certainly accelerated our digital progress. I don't think we believe that it would accelerate it as much as it did, but we're certainly pleased with the results. And for us now, we want this channel of e-commerce to be incremental. It shouldn't just be, a sales substitute. It should serve as an incremental revenue generator to our bottom line. And so we've been able to do that and keep that engagement high and keep our e-commerce numbers up. And, we were able to triple during the pandemic, and we're still continuing with that momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Well, big news for you guys. I think you're the only QSR who is doing drone delivery. How exciting with Air Loco. We want to hear all about it. How's it doing? I think it launched in 10 stores, I think I heard, but you tell me.
Yeah. So Air Loco was a really neat opportunity that we launched about 10 weeks ago. It's still by invite only, and it was an opportunity for us to not only come out with a kind of like swinging a big bat with a free delivery event that we've offered since June 24th, but also kind of differentiate our brand as kind of being first mover. And, one of the big benefits of Air Loco is the fact that it keeps the cost low to the consumer in terms of what that delivery is costing them. And it's also very speedy and efficient. So essentially, Air Loco will deliver within 2 miles of our restaurant. It essentially gives the consumer the opportunity to try something new with tech. It kind of makes you think about the old school Jetsons a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And really just gives you an opportunity to experience technology that's been discussed and talked about for quite some time. I think everybody remembers the Amazon and Google and hype videos that were kind of a big thing within the last year and a half. But I think for us as kind of a small regional brand, this was a really good opportunity for us to just kind of differentiate ourselves. Do I think Air Loco is going to be, mainstay in all our restaurants moving forward? I don't think I can quite answer that yet, but I would tell you that I think moving forward, I think the industry is shifting. I think there's going to be a bifurcated model in the delivery space, not just getting car delivery. I think drone delivery is certainly going to be one of those things that are going to help improve efficiency and cost in the model. And, we're very excited with the progress we've seen thus far. I don't think you're going to see it in LA Metro anytime soon, anywhere where there's massive population density. We have our partners at Flytrex. They work very close with the FAA to make sure that we're operating in a safe space and continue to receive more regulatory clearance on a regular basis.
Yeah. I would think you would have gotten, because you said only those who are loyalty members are able to have that. I would think you might have seen a huge uptick in people joining for that alone.
Yeah, definitely. So essentially it was by invite only to some of our top members, and we're continuing to expand that availability as we see fit, as it becomes available. But we also launched a website, goairloco.com, and it gave other consumers who weren't essentially a part of our loyalty program an opportunity to express interest in drone delivery. And, it was one of those things that generated a lot of excitement. We got a lot of website hits. And as of a week ago, we had over 100,000 people raise their hands. So really cool to get that level of interest for us. And, we'll continue to evolve that journey. And I think you'll see more from it soon.
That's brilliant. Really great. Good. Awesome. Okay, cool. So now, so as some brands move more responsibilities in-house, El Pollo Loco is finding new agencies to engage with. How have your agencies helped engage consumers, especially in the digital and social space?
So I can't say enough good things about our agencies. About a year ago, we made a switch media agency-wise. We moved to Initiative. They won Ad Age Media Agency of the Year this past year. A phenomenal group of individuals. They think very digital centric. Their whole premise is kind of that intersection of culture and consumer. And they always think and operate that way. And they've challenged the brand to think differently and pushed us forward. And so as our media spend has gone up overall, about 2 years ago, our media spend was right about 2 to 5% digital. In this most recent month, we were about 50%. So if that gives you any indication about our shift and, making sure we understand where the consumer's eyeballs are, that's a very clear indication right there. We also hired an additional digital agency of record, Organic. They're based in New York. They've really helped us elevate our creative in the digital space, especially trying to create that emotional connection with the consumer on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, et cetera. We traditionally as a brand, we're doing a lot of TV cut downs as part of our social strategy. And we knew that if we wanted to be a big player in the digital space, that strategy was just not going to work anymore. And so really grateful to the organization for allowing us to invest in a digital agency standalone to solely focused on digital creative. And Organic's done a phenomenal job. I think if you look over the course of the last 6 months, you'll see on our channels just some really elevated thinking, elevated creative, and really fun ways for the brand to interact with consumers on those platforms. And then the last agency that we've worked with is Influential. They're an agency that works specifically with influencers. And as we've grown our TikTok channel and Instagram strategy, it was necessary to engage with some of the best in the influencer industry. And so they've been a great partner to us and really helped us elevate the types of influencers we select and, how we engage with our brand creative strategy.
That's really great. Good to hear.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So talk to me about some of your biggest challenges engaging consumers.
Yeah, I think it's, noise. And I know that's very vague, but I think, you think about how many brands are out there and how many people are competing for attention. You really have to figure out how you can differentiate yourself, not just be your traditional what's playing in the fast food or QSR space. You really want to just elevate the thinking and the way you engage with your consumers as a brand. And I think, given that there's emails, there's text messages, there's commercials hitting consumers every second of the day, you want to keep it engaging, keep it fun, do something that's very different, that's kind of a little bit unexpected. And so for us, it's, really just trying to elevate that level of creative, level of engagement that we have with the brand. I think that's the best way you can differentiate yourself as a brand out there, because there is a lot of noise in the space. You want to be top of the consideration. And so just making sure that we keep our creative and our offers relevant and fun and engaging, and really just keeping a pulse on the consumer to make sure that, we're considered top of mind every single time that they're going to buy something or thinking about something in the future.
Yeah, that is great. That makes sense. All right, now hot topic measurement. How are you measuring consumer engagement?
Yeah, we work very closely with our agency partners on this. Obviously, traditional things like click-through rate, cost per acquisition, cost per order for our off-premise business. We're regularly looking to see how we're doing relative to what we've done in the past. One of the great things about Initiative coming in is we've been able to reduce our acquisition cost by about 75%. Huge efficiencies gained, really targeting our consumers differently. And we're regularly updating what we're looking at as a brand. I think there's obviously so much data available, being in the brand seat that I'm in, and I think you really have to be strategic about what you're going to go after, because I think sometimes you can fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, and every single thing has a metric nowadays. But I would say that there's certainly key ones that you want to focus on, and just make sure that those metrics that you have for your business, you just hold yourself accountable to them, and you continue to iterate and improve, and really just make sure it drives the best results for the business.
Yeah. Do you prioritize when you're looking at your measurement, do you prioritize like app over mobile web over video, or is it kind of all just come under one?
Yeah, I think, for us, it's really about that whole journey. And I think app is certainly that desire for the consumer to give us their information, give us, the types of details that we want. We want to know what they're buying from our restaurants. We have the ability to communicate with them differently. I think that's obviously, I would say, job one, because ultimately then once they give us that information, they sign up, then it's my job to try to get them into our restaurant. And so, that's obviously the thing that really gets me excited. But then on the flip side, you can turn to our mobile ads or our digital social strategy. It's always exciting to see when you have somebody new following you. It's always exciting to see, when you're able to conquest a customer. And so, I would say that there's a bunch of different metrics we look at. I would say that obviously the app is probably job one for me, because in terms of what it does for our overall business to drive sales and revenue to the bottom line, I mean, that's the biggest piece, right? That's what pays the bills. That's what keeps the lights on. So for us, the app for me is I would say my number one. And we continue to just improve, which is very encouraging and exciting. And I just want to say hats off to my team and the agency, because we've just done some tremendous work, and I'm really proud of everybody who works on our business.
That's awesome. I know them, and they're all really great. So I second that and hear you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So how do you feel about delivery services to help engage consumers? So
delivery services, I will tell you, I was probably before the pandemic, maybe like once a month delivery consumer, but I now have my Dash Pass. I have my Uber Eats Unlimited. I have my Grubhub Plus. It's funny, I literally have all three delivery subscription services. And I like to liken that delivery experience to like going to a shopping mall, right? Sometimes you know what you want to go in there and purchase, and sometimes it's kind of like, I didn't really know I needed that or I wanted that, but because it's available, you can go ahead and buy that, right? And so the cool thing about delivery is it's like your virtual food court or virtual shopping mall. And it's really cool because there's things that you have the ability to access quickly and differently. And I just think it gives our brand a lot more exposure. I think it allows us to cast a wider net, because they've done a huge and great job marketing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub. Like, they have these massive databases of consumers, and sometimes they're not consumers of our brand. So it really gives us the ability to, really cast the wider net and get people into our restaurants that we traditionally may not have been able to get into the restaurants as a result of just great marketing on their front, and, positioning on our brand on those platforms so that, we are top of choice or top of mind.
Yeah. Would you say that by working with those partners that, like, you may not know this, but I'm just curious, like, what % of overall sales does that bring to you? Is it might be on the lower side because maybe you get more footfall with,
Yeah,
people just knowing the brand in the app. So I was just curious if you know. And
definitely.
share
Yeah,
that.
we're in the low double digit range. But I would say that number has sustained. I think when you think about just the business overall, you kind of rewind to March 2020 when, everything kind of was put on pause, right? And our business shifted dramatically overnight. And so for us, we really had to figure out, okay, how are we going to play in the off-premise space? We had relationships with all four providers. It was a, single digit part of our business, but how is it going to grow over time? Obviously, the indoor seating was closed. Our restaurants only have one drive-through lane. So being able to pivot and iterate quickly was quintessential to our success. And I would say that, just making sure that you're top of mind in delivery. So through Postmates, we launched a campaign. It was free delivery for however long is necessary. That launched on April 1st and it went through December 31st of last year. Our sales quadrupled on Postmates, and that was sustained very, very, very well. You look at DoorDash, we did a lot of different marketing campaigns with them to make sure that we were top of mind. So we did things like 20% off your first time ordering with the brand, and that was something that put us higher in the queue. Similar with Uber Eats and Grubhub, just making sure that we were part of the consideration set. And one of the things that I found fascinating is, you fast forward to today, our delivery sales are still actually higher than when, the pandemic first hit. And so I just think it's a testament to our team. Everybody's done a really phenomenal job just making sure that, we continue to build that channel and it stays as an incremental part of our business and not a substitution. And really proud of the work that we've done.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost like it could have been like for you all, like having El Pollo Loco in all of those apps, more branding opportunities, more people considering El Pollo Loco as they're having food delivered to them because they're like, well, I've already done this one and this one. Hey, El Pollo Loco. And maybe you got, so that will continue on even after. So I could see how that would be beneficial. Yeah. Great, because you all have 480 locations. You're in how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 markets?
Yes, we're in 6 states.
Rather. Yes. Okay.
You got
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Well, that's really great. Well, awesome. I think that was all that we were specifically going to talk about. Did you have anything else to add, or we could see if there's any questions?
No, I just, I want to add, obviously, we're very excited. We're in 6 states today, but publicly we've announced that we're going to be expanding. And I think you'll see very soon kind of where those locations are going to pop up. We publicly announced Denver, so Colorado is going to be coming soon, Colorado Springs. And so just very excited to continue to move the brand east and, share the love that we have for our brand with others. So very excited about that.
Awesome. That's really good news. Great. Cool. I'm going to see if maybe I can do, I don't know where that drone delivery is. I got to look and see. It's probably not in LA, as you said, but next time I just need to know where they're at so that I can, if I'm in that area, I'm going to try it.
I think I know somebody that might be able to make that happen for you. So let's talk offline.
Great. Love it. Awesome. Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. They didn't. Guess they'll be coming
Emily,
back.
are we taking any questions? Do you know if there's any questions in the chat? I don't know if Emily just kind of pops in like a genie at the end of the chat.
Yeah, I was looking to see if there's questions, but let's see. Oh, we got one. Predictions for the space for 2022.
Ooh, fun question. I think one of the things that you're going to see in the space in 2022 is just smaller restaurant footprints. I think that indoor dining and indoor seating has forever changed. And I think you're going to see off-premise playing a bigger picture. If you see kind of the direction that a lot of the larger brands have shared publicly with the restaurants of the future and some of the designs, you've seen Taco Bell, you've seen Chipotle. A lot of those bigger brands have shared kind of what their design and construction footprints will look like moving forward. And I think it's really fascinating because you see a lot less in terms of that in restaurant dining area. You see more curbside parking spaces. You see more drive-through lanes. And I think that's really going to be a huge part of the future. It's really just a changed dynamic. It's a changed world. And I think people really enjoy the convenience of eating in their homes. And I think that it's forever changed. And so for 2022, I'd say less on-premise dining, off-premise is continuing to grow. I think you're going to see more use of artificial intelligence in the restaurant industry. Starbucks has done it for quite some time. McDonald's has started to do it. I think you're going to see a lot more medium-sized, smaller players starting to do that more often, building algorithms to increase average check, improve email conversion efficiency. I would say those are my two predictions for 2022.
Those are great. Let's see here. We got another question. How has the customer experience changed, and how are you managing the shift?
Yeah, I think we've really tried to keep a pulse on the customer. I know Jeannie asked that a little bit earlier, but I think you're getting a lot of consumers who are making orders digitally for the first time with the brand. These are people who either are ordering off of their cell phone, ordering off the web for the first time. And so making sure that we continue to keep that experience frictionless, I think, is key. And trying to convert consumers into these channels. We still have a number of individuals who, despite using our loyalty program, have not done an off-premise delivery order, have not done a curbside pickup, have not done an online order. And so trying to keep that information top of mind and trying to figure out a way that we can convert consumers into that experience, because we know that it's a very good one, is just pinnacle to our success moving forward. And I think as the business continues to grow off premise and we continue to grow as a brand, I think it's going to be very, very important for us to continue to maintain digital channels and the integrity of those journeys.
Yeah. We have another question. How important is the influencer in your marketing strategy and messaging? How do you identify who is the right fit?
It's a phenomenal question. I would say that we really rely heavily on Influential, which is our influencer agency that we work with. They have an algorithm that looks at different things like likes, comments, user engagement, open rate, where most of the followers are in different territories where the influencer is. We really try to pick people who are authentic and would complement our LA Mex brand very well. I think that's super important. You don't want somebody that's kind of off-brand strategy and will take the brand in a direction that you don't really want to take it. But I think it's also important to make sure that you allow the individual, especially on TikTok, to maintain their tone of voice, because one of the beauties of the TikTok platform is it's very authentic. Brands have to be very careful about the way that they position and advertise on those platforms, because you don't want it to be overkill and you don't want it to be overly salesy. So I think that that's also part of the equation, and just making sure that when we come out with new products or we have different brand initiatives, that the influencer really is on target with what we're looking to achieve and can ultimately help us cast a wider net. You kind of continue to hear me use that phrase. It's a phrase that my CEO uses all the time, but it's really about how do you continue to keep those who are core to your brand engaged, but then also how do you drive new people into the business, and how do you do it in a tone that's authentic with your brand, not overly disruptive, and continues to keep the conversation interesting for people who are unfamiliar with it.
I think we need a El Pollo Loco TikTok dance to go viral.
Yeah, right. Right. Or a hashtag challenge.
There you go. The next question, are you guys thinking about purpose-driven marketing and how that might contribute to long-term loyalty?
Yeah, so we do a lot of purpose-driven marketing. We've done a few things that I can talk about. First, for Mother's Day, we had what were called Madre ship grants, and we awarded funds to mothers specifically in the Latina community who really wanted to chase their dreams and were unable to do so, either because of the pandemic or other things in their life that prevented them from ultimately pursuing their dreams of the circumstance. So Madre Ships for Mother's Day was a really beautiful event, really allowed consumers to understand the emotional connection we have for Mother's Day with our moms. Other big thing I would say is for Hispanic Heritage Month last year, we had a fund that really tried to re-engage businesses that lost a lot of money as a result of the pandemic. And so these were grants to try to help keep small businesses in business. We do a lot of purpose-driven marketing. It's very intentional. We definitely take an active role in our communities, and it's something that really makes me proud as someone working for this company at this brand. We constantly look for new ways to engage with our community and support those things that are core to our DNA. So I really like that. I have a question here that I can answer that seems like it just got sent directly to me. Am I concerned about food quality when it's delivered and not eaten in the time frame it was originally intended? This is a phenomenal question. So I'll tell you a couple of things. If you live primarily in the LA market right now, you'll notice that we're doing a ton of advertising for free delivery. And one of the elements of that campaign is our new Thermo to Go packaging. And the Thermo to Go packaging is great because it allows the chicken to keep in the heat a lot longer. We have about a 99.9% on-time rate with our deliveries. Our largest delivery partner, DoorDash, does a phenomenal job making sure that deliveries are fast and efficient. And I'd say the traditional delivery time is between 30 to 40 minutes on average. The other thing I'd say about our delivery that's different from our competitors is we have a tamper-proof sealed delivery bag that prevents any delivery driver from tampering with the food. So essentially, once the restaurant employee puts the food in the bag, it's sealed and it cannot be opened until that consumer receives the food. And so those are two differentiating points in terms of our delivery strategy that I think really make sure that we maintain that food quality that we've come to expect. So we deliver that same type of experience that if you were going into one of our restaurants and ordering food, it stays hot, it stays fresh, and it's awesome by the time it arrives for you, your friends, or family.
Yeah, I think even that's so brilliant because I don't know that many other QSRs do that. So that's definitely something that would be touted in your
Definitely.
Next.
It's an incredible experience. I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it.
Yeah. Awesome. How are you determining where to spend time on emerging technologies?
So I work very closely with my VP of IT to try to figure out where we're going to place our big bets. One of the things that's really great about my organization, both the CEO and CFO, is they really have bought into this concept called Little Bets. And Little Bets, it's a book, highly recommended if you haven't read it yet. It really talks about this notion of if you place small bets on things and you see success, how do you then place a bigger bet to continue to move that initiative forward? And if you place a small bet on something and you lose, meaning like it's not successful, no hard feelings and you've learned something, right? And so when we look at our overall technology strategy as we move forward, we really buy into this concept of little bets. And so whether it be we pilot different technologies in 5 to 10 restaurants, we look to benchmark the industry to see where they're going. And I'll tell you, quite frankly, about 2 weeks ago, I spent the entire day, my VP of IT and we literally shopped the competition, shopped our restaurants. We just wanted to see how we compared relative to, some of our best competitors in market in terms of their technology strategy to see where they're going. And so I think the biggest thing that restaurants make a mistake on is they look to see what the shiny new tool, shiny new device is, right? I mean, when something's new, people get excited about that. There's times where people like kind of old and traditional, but in the restaurant space, sometimes snazzy, flashy, new, it's attractive, right? And so I think one of the biggest mistakes restaurants make is they don't think about the consumer or they don't think about that journey at the core and heart of what they do. And so one of the things that we're doing to tackle that differently is just trying to really see where that consumer journey is going to land, right? It's not necessarily about the most expensive, shiniest new technology object. It's how did we make that experience different or better for the customer? Customer is the core to all your technology investments. Obviously, there's things on the back end that we would like to invest in to make our jobs easier. But I think ultimately, and again, I said this earlier, it's the customer who pays the bills. So if you create that frictionless experience for them and you make sure that you design your technology strategy with the consumer in mind, hopefully you will not fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. How have you kept your team engaged in the virtual world? Virtual happy hours, virtual coffee chats?
So we're in a very tight labor market right now. And I think one of the ways that you need to make sure you value your employees, staff, agencies, et cetera, is just making sure you have a pulse on how they're feeling. I've really tried to ask my employees questions. It's not, how are you doing? What's up? It's how are you really feeling? Sometimes just by emphasizing tone of voice and changing it up in terms of the question that you're asking them, it really gives that genuine nature of, trying to understand how they're doing, how they're feeling. I've definitely tried to do virtually distanced or socially spaced lunches. Every so often, we've gone out a few times, keeping social distancing in mind as we've done those dinners and or lunches. And then I think there's other ways to engage your team too, right? So I've really encouraged them to get involved with the Brand Innovators community. I've encouraged them to try to reach out to other leaders in the industry to try to see who's doing things really well. Can you get a 30-minute meeting with that individual to see kind of what the thought process was when they went to launch a certain initiative. And, I think it's just making sure that you don't wear them out. Burnout's a real thing. I've had a couple bouts of it, but usually what I do is I'll take a day off, just go on a long bike ride, go on the treadmill, just making sure you have a pulse on your team, and just make sure that they're continuously challenged, they're continuously happy, and you do it in a way that's authentic.
That's great. I've gotten some good ideas from you, so thank you.
Good.
That's great. Let's see. Emily is here, I think. Hi, Emily. Good to see you again.
Hi, guys.
Is our time up?
Emily, I think we summoned you a little prematurely. I thought you were going to be like an I Dream of Jeannie that would just like kind of appear.
There's a slight, technology lag. So I was like, let me pop in while I can. But yes, well, thank you guys so much. This was such a great way to kick off this Tuesday program. And Andy, always great to have you back on our virtual stage. And thanks so much, Jeannie, for moderating.
Thanks, Emily.
My pleasure.
Good to see you.
And thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. And if anybody else has any other questions that I wasn't able to answer in this session, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will respond, I promise. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're the best. Well, thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Well, huge thank you to Andy and Jeannie for kicking us off today. Still have a great slate of upcoming content, so stay with us. So our next program we're going to be hearing from, we have a pre-recorded session that was from a few weeks back. That was one of our favorites on consumer engagement, so we wanted to share it again with you all. We're thrilled to listen in again to David Knapp, the Director of Customer Site and Paid Media at American Express, moderated by Jim D. Antony, the Director of National Media Sales at Dish Media. So please enjoy this one, and we'll be back live right after this.